with support from the Degama Group.
Welcome to Rumbo Minero. Cesar, how are you? Great to see you, Jorge, Cesar Campos, Jorge Leon Medias. We are doing this special show because it's almost here. Next week, we are at Expomina now. Get ready for www.expominaperu.com. You can register for free for more than 100 discussions of various types that we will host at Expomina along with the big exhibition. www.expominaperu.com at the Yoki Convention Center. You will be able to enter and see what Peruvian mining means. Go and take a look to learn more about this sector that we are proud of as Peruvians. We will have Cesar with the president of Expomina, Luis Rivera. We will have an interview with him. We will also have Carlos Neuhaus, who is the president of the Business Forum at Expomina. We will discuss a very interesting topic. What topics must we cover? Respect. And what topics should we have as entrepreneurs today? And what else, Cesar?
Well, the former Minister of Economy and current Executive Director of Evidencia Consultores, Luis Miguel Castilla, who leads nothing less than the Investment Climate, Markets and Prices Forum, and it will be present at the Expomina of the world.
That's it, I repeat. Visit www.expominaperu.com right away to obtain your free pass for entry to the fairs and discussions. These are truly very important for the promotion of Peruvian mining, and you will be able to learn everything about mining, Peruvian. Next, we will listen to the main mining news of the week.
Thank you, Jorge. These are the key mining news highlights from this week.
Buenaventura Mining Company, the largest publicly traded precious metals company on the Lima Stock Exchange, announced that Moody's has upgraded its credit rating to BO. I have a positive outlook. Buenaventura states that this upward revision is a result of the operational improvements made possible by the rise in production at its El Brocal mines, Yumpag and Uchuchacua. In the first half of the year, gold, silver, lead, and iron production, the production of tin and molybdenum saw notable increases when compared to the similar period of the previous year, as reported by the Ministry of Energy and Mines. According to the reported figures, the minerals with the highest increase in the first half of the year were tin, molybdenum, and gold, followed by silver, lead, and iron.
Thanks to Gabriela Chicoma for the main mining news of the week. We are now linking up with Luis Rivera to extend a warm welcome to the president of Expomina for this week. Welcoming Luis, we would like to ask him, from what perspectives does he come to Expomina and under which, we have an APEC meeting regarding the mining APEC that is going to be held during Expomina. We have the conference held by the mining ministers of the Americas. We have a big mining party. Therefore, we would like to inquire about the perspective under which this event will take place. Expomina.
Thank you, Jorge Cesar, for taking the time to conduct the interview. First, yes, the PEC Mining Leaders Forum will put to Peru again on the world stage, considering that it takes place during the PEC conference. With the 21 economies in this group, we can show the industry's progress in technology and innovation, as well as in social responsibility. I believe Peru has made significant progress. Mining companies, the government, and civil society in Peru have advanced greatly in this area. I think that with the mine coinciding with the PEC, it will be the best showcase to present our activities to the world.
Luis, the Mining Leaders Forum AP will obviously put this great event, Expomina, in the spotlight for the world to see. Additionally, with a mining sector that is not just focused on boosting and optimizing production, but also on essential values such as sustainability, defending the environment, and social responsibility. Do you believe, Luis, that events like this help to showcase to the world the vast mining potential not only in our country but also throughout the region?
Yes, definitely. There are several topics happening simultaneously. Within the PC, we have the high-level dialogue on mining, led by the Ministry of Energy and Mines, which had stopped during the last PEC. As the host country, the government has established this forum where all these topics will be debated and discussed. Critical minerals, innovation and technology, sustainability, etc. In other words, green hydrogen, understanding that the global situation is perfect, the world is moving towards a greener future, and metals like copper, lithium, and nickel are essential for achieving success in this energy transition to a less carbon-intensive world.
At Expomina, we will welcome students, as you know, Luis. Universities, schools, technical institutions, meaning youth coming to learn more about mining, whether they are in the sector, studying, or just schools, so Peruvians, our fellow citizens, can be better informed about the significance of mining. How important is it for events like Expomina to demonstrate to our fellow citizens the significance of mining in our nation?
I believe Expomina, as well as other major mining events in Peru, is the perfect display. First, it is on the platform where mining companies, major suppliers, civil society, government, unions, and academia come together to address topics of national importance. Expomina is especially important because it will bring a significant agenda. There are 11 forums and 5 congresses, and we will discuss several key issues for the country. For example, we have the forum led by Claudio Cooper, Peru and the mining of the future. We have the forum led by Delia Munoz on mining policies. I will also lead a forum on mining investment in the nation, etc. That is to say, we have different forums that need to be included in the agenda to discuss and provide necessary recommendations for the country to take advantage of this mining boom that the country will experience. Metal prices are rising. We have witnessed this year that copper prices have reached record highs. Prices may fluctuate, but they will remain high. Demand for copper is greater than supply, and the nation needs to benefit from these revenues, turning them into development for the country, realizing that mainly mining happens in less developed areas with poor state presence. And all of this must to contribute and become enhancements for the country. This is Expomina's goal, a forum for meetings of various social entities, but also a showcase to present our potential to the world.
Luis, in this edition of Expomina, we have introduced a special award called indeed Expomina, which is divided into 3 categories: mining social responsibility, mining environmental responsibility, and mining innovation. We also have Expomina Environmental to Advance Sustainable Practices, which will measure its carbon footprint and improve its standards with each edition to achieve goals that allow the reduction of climate change impact. Do you consider that such activities involve or ought to involve other industries so that the commitment to sustainability for the planet is impactful across different productive sectors of our planet and particularly our nation?
The measurement of the carbon footprint of various activities. Industry today is almost required. Big companies, large projects, and key initiatives need to assess their carbon footprint and look for ways to reduce it. We cannot improve something if we do not measure it. Expomina is not detached from this topic. Thus, this year, we are committed at Expomina to assess our carbon footprint and enhance it in upcoming events, potentially reaching zero carbon emissions. That's the aim. This is a model, and I believe it should also be the message for other institutions and companies. Major mining companies measure their carbon footprint. They are committed to tracking their carbon footprint and even reducing it. If one looks at the commitments of BHP, Anglo American Goldfields, they each have specific plans to cut their carbon footprint for next year. Some even target zero emissions. Other industries must not be oblivious to this commitment. Other activities cannot ignore this duty. It is part of our obligation to create a better world, a greener world.
Apart from being the Expomina Fair president, you also head the Project Portfolio Forum for Expansions. What is the objective of this forum? Tell us a bit about it.
When you review the report from the Ministry of Energy and Mines regarding the investment project portfolio for the upcoming year, it is very, very exciting. We have seen that since the report from next year, there has been an increase of about $3 billion. And the good part is that if you delve deeper, you'll find that if you click on the projects that already have detailed engineering and the projects in progress in environmental permits and brownfield projects, referred to as replacement in the terminology of Peruvian law, we're looking at more than $9 billion in investments. $9 billion for 9 projects. Just for the year 2024, $3 billion has already been announced. Next year, we also have another $3 billion announced between the Safranal project and Pampa del Pongo, and for 2026, another roughly $3 billion as well. This means the investment projects exist, they were promises, and they are being executed. That money, that capital coming into the country will once again create benefits for the local ecosystem. Initially through salaries, contractors, and local purchases, but also through indirect investments, hotels and taxis, suppliers of mining clothing, etc. And finally, through the taxes they will owe. Such benefits needs to be truly transformed into development for local communities, mining areas, and the country as a whole, recognizing that 50% goes to the canon and the other half to the national treasury. Investing in Cajamarca affects a highway and a hospital in Tacna. These are investments that create benefits both locally and nationally. Thus, our function in Expomina is to highlight those investments, to showcase the country, Peru, as an appealing destination for investors, capitalists, and major mining firms, while also presenting the country, Peru, as a responsible nation that turns that investment into the development of its people. The forum's goal is to discuss important topics, and we have great ones lined up. I invite you all to join us at Expomina. Only a few days to go. Until next week.
A big thank you to Luis Rivera, president of Expomina. Remember, it's www.expominaperu.com. You can register for free and attend the fair, as well as all the talks we will have in the 4 halls. So you can check out www.expominaperu.com. Now here's Gabriela Chicoma with more info on Expomina.
Many thanks. Expomina Peru takes place from September 11 to 13, 2024, led by Luis Rivera, Executive Vice President of Golsis Las Americas. Highlight your brand through the various sponsorships we offer at Expomina Peru, networking opportunities, and participation in exclusive activities, promotion in media, along with other significant benefits. For more information, visit our website, www.expominaperu.com.
Now, as we enter the America Mining section, we connect with the international editor of Rumbo Minero. There's not much time left for Expomina. Also, José Gonzales is on his way, soon arriving in Peru to participate in Expomina. José, welcoming you. Yes, thank you very much. José, welcoming you. I wanted to ask you about the summer that just ended in the Northern Hemisphere. This summer has been the hottest on record, accompanied by some unusually low temperatures in the Southern Hemisphere, breaking records by significant margins. What does the scientific evidence indicate about this? What is the impact of rising temperatures and how can they be mitigated? Even with the negative impacts on the environment, it creates a favorable situation for mining.
The summer in the Northern Hemisphere that just ended this week has been characterized by what Eric Fischer, a professor of extreme climate at ETH Zurich, describes as a record that has exceeded the last one by a significant margin. Such a phenomenon has been recorded this summer in Western Europe, including France, Italy, and the United Kingdom, China, and Canada. In certain regions of Europe, temperatures soared to some of the highest globally. As per World Weather Attribution, a group of scientists examining climate change's impact suggests that extreme weather may show the planet has crossed a non-linear limit, where small increases in global temperature cause larger than expected increases in heat. Scientists indicate that human-induced climate changes will cause heat waves to be more intense and frequent, with the only way to mitigate them being to reduce the rate of global temperature increase. And that is precisely what you pointed out. The mitigation of global climate change, reducing greenhouse gas emissions and improving carbon capture is what climatologists generally propose. Alarmed by global temperatures that reached on July 21 of this year a historic high of 17.09 degrees Celsius, surpassing July 6th of last year, recorded at 17.08 degrees Celsius. It entails various mitigation strategies, such as using renewable energy, enhancing energy efficiency, and promoting electromobility, the use of sustainable agriculture and reforestation, carbon capture and storage, along with carbon pricing. Experts indicate that mitigation needs a multifaceted approach, relying on global cooperation for success, tech innovation, and the commitment of governments, businesses, and individuals to take decisive action in its implementation and execution. In terms of mining, any advancements in the suggested strategies for climate change mitigation tends to fundamentally favor it due to electromobility and the energy transition. Improvements in the efficiency of household appliances will also continue to demand critical minerals.
Jose, we are obviously filled with excitement for the upcoming Expomina del Mundo this week, and you have provided sustained coverage of each of the forums. And we only need to highlight two that I would ask you to explain. One is the keynote speech by Iván Arriaga. And the second, perhaps also one of the most important and significant events at Expomina del Mundo, is the High-Level Leaders Forum of APEC Mining, please.
That's right, Cesar, a pleasure. We conclude these introductions with two of the most significant events of CONFEMIN. With Roque Benavides, chairman of Buenaventura Mining Company, who will present a keynote on the significance of mining in Peru's history, who will wrap up CONFEMIN, Iván Arriagada, CEO of Antofagasta PLC Minerals, the most important private mining company in Chile, and a minority shareholder of Buenaventura, will present a keynote on the significant challenges of mining in Latin America. And, as you mentioned, the topics addressed at the APEC High-Level Mining Leaders Forum will focus on critical minerals, the balance and projections of mining innovation, and the impact of small-scale mining. Each participant will present on the issues and challenges faced by mining in their respective countries, concluding with a panel of conclusions, if I may say so. This event is included in the official APEC Peru agenda for the year of the year of the year. We will see you this week from September 11 to 13 at Expomina at the DOCA Exhibition Center.
Many thanks to José Gonzales. See you at Expomina next week. I want to mention that we have the Rumbo Minero magazine, the leading magazine in the mining sector. If you are a supplier or want to be a supplier in the mining sector, visit www.rumbominero.com and you can contact us to advertise in this magazine. You can also download the magazine every 45 days for all the mining sector info in Peru and in the Americas overall. Thank you all very much. Thank you, everyone. And Cesar, we have an announcement.
Absolutely. Jorge, always ready to present the ANSAC Mining Assets segment.
The environmental situation in La Roya was very complicated. Peru had to take on its protective responsibility, ensuring the health of the population and the ecosystem.
In the past, the streets and roads were muddy, they were just dirt. That led to contamination. But things have changed as mining sites have been covered and remediated. Everything that was contaminated has now been covered, so to speak.
Nowadays, Alto Marca Valley has developed significantly both in commerce and transportation, and jobs have been created. It's a whole new quality of life. This place, as they say, it has developed quite a bit, hasn't it? Thanks to that, we now have further development of our association here in Alto Marca Valley, right?
Even the animals previously suffered from the lameness that is mentioned. The lameness affected little animals that could not walk through the pastures due to pollution and everything. Nowadays, that disease has disappeared. In these spaces with exposed and contaminated soils, I used to play with my brother, my friends, and my family. It fills me with joy to work at a company that has made a difference in La Aurora. Today's children have a completely different reality.
All right, we are meeting now with Carlos Neuhaus. He serves as the president of Expomina and also holds the position of president of the Business Forum and companies as subject matter. Really important today because when I had a conversation with Carlos, regrettably, since the subjects that in a business sector, the image has declined. We're talking about the drop, all those issues. Nowadays, we need to give a voice to entrepreneurs to speak, specifically which ones they are. Those standards that we as entrepreneurs must manage today in Peru. Welcome, Carlos, to Rumbo Minero.
Thank you very much, Jorge.
Share a little about the objective for this forum.
Well, the topic is, we're going to have 3 people. I will speak on the impact of mining activities in several sectors. And honestly, despite what people say, mining is part of many sectors of our country. Let's say, machinery that operates with iron, such as transportation activities, the suppliers.
Where is the adjustment?
Suppliers, construction, setting up camps. In short, it crosses many sectors of the economy. And when it produces, it impacts not just the mining that is exported, but also the jewelry sector, for instance, which is important. And there are opportunities to make value added so that the products somehow have a process of industrialization. But what it also implies is that working to create a shaft or an open pit involves a lot of people. And as I said, as Mr. Alberto Benavides mentioned, who hires you at over 5,500 meters altitude?
Indeed, Carlos, as regulatory, economic, and social pressures increase, the mining sector always finds a way to reinvent its business model, and especially to create value in new ways while working more effectively in growing ecosystems. Why do you think the mining sector in this area we are discussing stands out from other industries?
Well, the mining sector is responsible for a very significant part of Peru's exports. And what our mining offers is that it is polymetallic. At times, one mineral's price increases while others decrease, but generally, mining always leads for our country.
What do you think are the fundamental qualities of a 21st century entrepreneur in Peru, or what should they be?
I believe an entrepreneur, in addition to creating wealth, jobs, employment, and all the impacts, the modern entrepreneur is far more responsible for issues like the environment, compliance with regulations, and so on. We mean the formal entrepreneur, the one who seeks to progress as long as you are not at least somewhat formalized. If you wish to export to the leading markets, you won't be able to accomplish that. Therefore, I think the business person has updated themselves already. Think with a broader mindset and not so narrow, sectorial.
What's your take, Carlos, on the company's role in our country's well-being? So many broken promises and so much pain?
I think the company's contribution in general is important. Now, what worries me is that there are voices demonizing the businessman. And the businessman, of course, like everywhere, there are black sheep that need to be removed. But the majority of entrepreneurs want to do things the right way. And they also face a number of challenges and bureaucratic processes that, for example, for the entrepreneur who wants, because many are starting out informal and want to be formal, they are beginning to encounter challenges with the paperwork that is presented to them. For instance, I was given some information here of the tasks companies must do. In Toledo's time, they went from 12 to 27. With Alan, they went from 27 to 87. And with Humala from 87 to 265. And nowadays the procedures and regulations are over 400. So, which small entrepreneur has, let's say, a bit of capital but not a lot, who can get past all those barriers and takes years to become formal? So, that's one of the big challenges, and it's not only in mining.
I wanted, let's say,
Thanks.
In general. Okay. Well, thank you very much to Carlos Neuhaus for being with us. We'll see you at Expomina to hear from you and the team you've prepared.
For being here with me, Porlo Monzon from Proexmin and Diego Macera, one of our top young economists.
Perfect. We're set for the Business and Companies Forum, and we'll see you next week, 11th, 12th, and 13th of September at the Yoki Convention Center. Yoki Exhibition Center, at www.expominaperu.com. You can sign up for this crucial forum. Many thanks, Carlos.
Thank you, everyone.
Well, next we're going to talk a bit about Expomina. Go ahead, Gabriela. Well, we are already connected with Luis Miguel Castilla. He is, as we know, the face of Expomina. He is the president of the Climate Investment Markets and Prices Forum at Expomina 2024. How's it going, Luis Miguel?
Hi, Jorge. Thanks for the interview.
Luis Miguel, tell us a bit about this great event, Expomina, coming up soon. From September 11th to 13th. Tell us a bit about what you have organized for this important forum on investment, markets, and prices, which is crucial is very important for the mining industry.
That's right. We have managed to gather a group of specialists from different fields. For instance, in pricing, Luis Ramos, the equity strategy manager at Rainville Research, who analyzes Peru and Chile and studies copper economics and prices, which I think will be helpful, along with Diego Macera, Director of IPE and the Central Bank, who has also researched the competitiveness of mining and its impacts on the country. One factor impacting competitiveness is social conflict. And for that, Paula Bustamante, former Minister of Mides, will be present. She was also a commissioner of the PSM in the Southern Mining Corridor and director of Evidenza, to explain how social conflicts are managed and her perspective on it. Finally, someone with a crucial role in overseeing a portfolio of mining projects is Gabriela Garcia, who directs the private investment monitoring team at the MF. Therefore, we have a distinguished group of experts to identify aspects that can enhance competitiveness and attract investment to our nation.
Miguel, share your thoughts on the investment climate from overseas and the global investment climate under these conditions as we get ready for this key forum.
We are, Cesar, in a rather particular situation because there is obviously a move towards energy transition, and we know it will require critical metals, among which are copper, cobalt, and lithium. But copper is very important. Yet there is an environment of many geopolitical factors that could work against us. Tensions exist between China and the United States, and this is evident in the demand for specific commodities such as gold, which is often considered a safe haven asset during periods of uncertainty. And all this is in a context where US monetary policy will become more expansive to avoid a recession. So I think international factors are key for understanding investment flows into emerging countries, especially in mining.
Now, Luis Miguel, we've seen a somewhat strange topic. Can you explain it to us? Gold continues to rise in price. And copper, which one would think should be influenced by the topic you just brought up, the matter of change? The energy should be present. It is also growing. However, despite its increase, it is facing volatility. What is causing this behavior in these two minerals?
Look, Jorge, in the case of copper, what we see are two effects, and the net effect is volatility. From a positive perspective, this greater demand globally is turning towards a low-carbon economy and the adoption of electromobility, copper intention. Yet, on the other hand, we see that the Chinese economy is struggling to grow at the anticipated rate. Thus, if growth expectations are lower in that country, it usually leads to decreased copper demand. Furthermore, if you factor in supply issues related to copper, as some mines are facing production challenges, which is seen in rising prices, we can see that these factors explain the volatility we've noticed in copper. I believe copper will trend higher in the future because what will prevail is this global shift towards an energy transition that demands critical metals, including copper. For gold, we see that uncertainty and various geopolitical or economic policy factors lead to there tends to be greater demand for gold. Therefore, I expect gold prices to keep rising in the future as uncertainty is likely to keep increasing for at least the next few.
Now, Miguel, but global financial markets have also experienced new record levels compared to, expecting some sort of rate cut from the US Federal Reserve on interest rates. Does this circumstance impact on the prices of metals and minerals?
Definitely, and you can see it, Cesar, in four aspects. One is when the dollar depreciates against other currencies, what we've been seeing is that it raises the prices of metals, since gold, silver, and copper are quoted in dollars. Therefore, a falling dollar tends to boost metal prices. In second place, as interest rates start to decline, global demand can reactivate, which will encourage consumption and investment, and this can effectively increase the demand for metals, which positively influences copper prices, for example. I mentioned this earlier, when interest rates are cut, there is still some inflation risk in certain countries. And currently, there's a tendency to partially seek refuge in safe assets, like gold, causing the peso to rise. And all of this ultimately, in a lower interest rate environment, it makes more investment projects bankable that must be financed in capital markets, and this will lead to lower costs for investment projects, which is beneficial for us. Therefore, this reduction in interest rates, assuming no global recession, will surely help us, with prices likely to stay elevated in the coming years, which is great for our country. Agreed.
To finish, tell us about the confirmation of U.S. President Joe Biden's presence at the APEC meeting in November in our country. After our meeting at Expomina with APEC's mining ministers, naturally the most crucial one is the presidential summit. And from the president of China, Xi Jinping. How could it? In other words, how could these significant meetings enhance investments? We are observing Tianke, but we also see that the U.S. should have a more robust investment, not just for mining, but for strategic reasons as well. How do you see the outcome of this presidential APEC?
I think it's very appropriate because when I took part, Jorge, as Minister of Economy, I joined the PEC meetings, and this is probably one of the summits with the highest private sector involvement with the leaders. Therefore, it's a chance to present our country, so to speak, on the international stage, and the presence of both presidents is obviously significant, helps. Well, Joe Biden will be the outgoing president, and we will have an elected president by that time. But the importance of the United States is fundamental, which I think is attempting to counterbalance the increased Chinese presence in Shanghai and other areas. So I think they are coming with a perspective, the Americans, a view to regain lost ground. In fact, very recently, the government of Peru and the US government have signed a deal to mine critical minerals and rare earths. They have done this with Peru, with Argentina, and likely with Chile, and this demonstrates that our country is drawing the attention of these leaders and their business sectors, which is a positive sign. But for that, we need to get our house in order and welcome them in the best way to effectively attract investment, which I doubt will materialize significantly during the summit, but the presence of these leaders definitely attracts their main business people, which is beneficial for our country.
Thank you so much, Luis Miguel, for your attention, and we'll see you next week at Expomina at your forum, which will be very interesting. Climate Forum, investment climate, markets, and pricing. We await your presence.
Thank you. Very kind of you.
It's worth mentioning that Luis Miguel Castilla, as president of this forum, as he already mentioned, will have a large number of guests to speak, experts to present. Luis Miguel Castilla, one of the most recognized economists nationally and internationally, of course. But the most important thing is that you can access the talks by visiting www.expominaperu.com and register. We have a few free passes available. So sign up now at expominaperu.com. Just talking about Expomina, I want Gabriela Chicoma to tell us more about Expomina. Please, Gabi. As we conclude the program, I'd like to remind all our viewers, don't forget www.expominaperu.com, www.expominaperu.com, log in and register for all the sessions and also for the exhibition for free. there is limited space. So right now, from your phone, log in and you will immediately receive all the information to attend this mega event that we believe showcases Peruvian mining globally due to the number of ministers who will attend. Regarding today's program, well, the very important interview with Luis Rivera and those who will speak, those who have forums, Carlos Neuhaus, Luis Miguel Castilla, and Cesar.
Indeed, they have detailed not only the participation of top-level professionals who will be at each of these forums, which even Jorge should mention, Luis Rivera, who leads Expomina of the Year. We must also note that he will chair the Project Portfolio and Mining Expansion Forum of the Year. All have provided details regarding what this significant event will entail. So I repeat, we are very enthusiastic.
We look forward to seeing you then. Remember, www.expominaperu.com from September 11th to 13th. Next week, register. It's a fantastic opportunity. We are sure you will learn much more about mining. So we'll see you soon. And thank you for being with us, as always, on Rumbo Minero on this station.